Sometimes I wish I was born in the Old Testament so that I could have more than one wife. Yeah, I said it.
The statements, beliefs, and opinions shared by the character Young Legend is for entertainment purposes only. This is a thespian performing, not a real person. This should not be used to incriminate, pocket watch, or tell his pastor. The Yonkers show is based on his life, current events, and past experiences, except the parts that are made up. Enjoy the show.
This episode is y'all first free Patreon episode because the Yonkers show is about to change. Just letting y'all know that right now. Let's get into it. The reason why I stopped recording was because I was going through some real life-changing stuff. I don't know if it was my job being in jeopardy or if it was the fact that my ex-girlfriend told me she got pregnant. But man, right around late August, stuff was going crazy for me. Those two things threw everything out of whack. I found out because she told me that this young lady that I was dating was with child. I knew the child wasn't mine because we had broken up and stopped dating long before she could have, like, with the due date that she told me. But it really messed me up because she said she wanted to meet in person and have a conversation. She had a gift for me. I'm thinking maybe it was something that I don't know. I thought maybe it was something from a while back or whatever the case may be. And we had recently spoke because she had wished me a happy alphaversary. But I set that boundary. Like, her and I stopped talking when we stopped dating. Like, we tried to get it back together, but she cut me off and broke off the relationship, and it affected me. So I was like, hey, I'm setting a boundary. I had to block off social media, but she still had access to my phone at the time. And what was really peculiar about this was because I had actually started dating someone else. I'm not in a relationship with this person, but I really do like them, and things started to get more intentional. So, like, in retrospect, this was a very pressure-filled moment for me because I didn't know if that was me potentially opening the door. But long story, a little bit short, I pull up and she asked me to get in the car and we start talking, and she just tells me, like, hey, don't have a gift for you, but I wanted you to know before I told anybody else. And then she said that she was pregnant. I immediately was like, what? This was shocking for me. I didn't know where to start, honestly. All I remember was the first thing I said, well, this is a blessing. Like, a child is a blessing. And I'm not gonna go into the details of like what that conversation was per se, but once it was like solidified that the child wasn't mine, I had to set a boundary because I didn't want to put my family or the people that I care about through any strife, because they know this person, they care about this person as well. And I just prayed and I walked away. But man, it really affected me. And I told the young lady I was dating, like, hey, you know, I just had a conversation with my ex and she told me she was pregnant. I know the child's not mine, but I don't know how affected I am by this yet. But right now, it's just like I'm dealing with emotions first. And I just take some time to get myself together through all of that. And it didn't get easier. I remember, like, being sad, angry, I went through all the emotions of grief because at that moment I knew I would never be with this person again, and that our lives were just going on two different paths. It was really, really tough for me. It was tough for my family, my mom, my brothers, like everybody. We were invested in this relationship and that person, but that was it, because I have a boundary, and it just changed everything for me. So boom, I get that. Then a couple of weeks later, I find out that my job could potentially be in jeopardy, because when you work in the tech industry, the market is bad, your job technically could be bad. And it was just a lot of pressure. I felt like I had been performing well, but no matter how well you performing, I'm the youngest person on my team, and that was a sign that I could potentially be going because everybody else had more value because they could do more. And I was insecure, I was nervous, stressed out. I was losing my mind. It was getting crazy. I ponder with why isn't one woman enough? I know that in marriage, like, you can only have one wife, and you're not supposed to have relations outside of your marriage. And let me be clear, I don't believe in cheating. I refuse to cheat. I don't ever want to violate the covenant of marriage because I've observed how it can be very damaging to other people. Like, I've watched people cheat in relationships emotionally and physically in marriage, and the marriage is never the same. And then not only does it affect the person that you cheat on, but also affects, like, if y'all got kids, if y'all got family, nothing is the same after. Sometimes I wish I was born in the Old Testament so that I could have more than one wife. Yeah, I said it. Monogamy is a struggle. I really feel like I would be happy in an open relationship or a polyamorous relationship. That's just not in alignment with my faith though. Like, and that's the struggle because the flesh is weak. But it baffles me. Like, I don't know why. I gotta look into who messed it up for us to be able to have more than one wife, because I want to talk to that person. I got some strong words for him, and I'm kidding, of course, about the conversation part, but I really do wonder. I feel like a lot of relationship and marriage problems would be fixed if men could have more than one wife. I enjoy developing relationships with women. I really do. And it's not because I got trauma or I'm like, I have ill intent. I really do enjoy developing a relationship with a woman. It make me feel good because women, when they start to like me or grow affection towards me, they trust me. I'm able to provide for them and be there for them. And it's just something about having someone trust you to be dependable. It really do something to my ego and my pride. I know it ain't. I have to work on removing this habit because it's not gonna sustain me long term, because in my heart I know I'm only supposed to be married to one woman. But I do feel like my life would be a lot easier if I didn't have to deal with monogamy or live a monogamous relationship life. But I just got to be honest with myself, and I have to take the time to find out how I can let go of that desire or not have it as much, because I know that monogamy and having one wife is what God intended for my life, because that's how my faith is aligned. But it is not easy, and it would just be so much easier if I didn't have the desire, and I just got to do better about that. And my hope is that when I do commit to my next relationship, that I don't rush into something for the sake of doing the right thing. And that's always been a struggle for me. I've always been the type of person to be pushed into maturity or pushed into being responsible in any capacity of my life. And I almost feel like a relationship is the only place where I can have some type of say-so in that capacity, but it doesn't always feel that way. A lot of my previous relationships wasn't really me asking the young lady to be my girlfriend. It was more them setting an expectation of just claiming me as their man before I even expressed that was something that I wanted to do. And as I matured over the years, I became more and more firm in putting that clarify that this is not my girlfriend. We are dating or we are close friends. And that created problems in my life because people around them took a lot of issue with it, because they, in their mind, felt like, well, if you're doing all these things for these women that you with, how could you not expect them to feel like you're their boyfriend or you're the only person that they're dealing with? That wasn't my responsibility. And looking back in life, a lot of the times where I was committed to people, it wasn't because it was something that I wanted. It was me saving face. And now I'm at this place in my life to where I know it's not what I need to be doing. Growing up, my dad would always be like, "You a lover boy." And I used to really get defensive about that because my dad looked at lover boys as like weak type of men. And that correlated to me rejecting that notion and wanting to be this machismo type of a man. And I spent the majority of my life in pursuit of being a egotistical bachelor player for the sake of social currency and like being a fly guy with a lot of women. And I don't know why that's heralded in the community I grew up in. Like, I really do enjoy the concept and the relational component of what love is from a romantic place. But I've learned that, like, I've created a habit for myself because it's almost like I'm addicted to romance. I'm addicted to romance. I really enjoy developing a relationship with a woman and how it feels when she needs me, or when she's willing to do anything and everything to keep me in her life and or happy. And I don't know where that is rooted in. And if I took the time to think about it, I could imagine that it comes from me feeling as if I'm not secure in myself or comfortable with myself. And it's something that I got to work on, because I know in the grand scheme of things, I can only have one wife, because I really am intentional about my relationship with God, but I really struggle in the relationship component of it. And it's so interesting to me because, like I joke and say, I wish I was born in the Old Testament so that I could have more than one wife, but it's almost as if I was looking for a way to justify my habits. And I feel like over the years, whenever I've entered a relationship, it wasn't because I wanted to enter the relationship, but I feel like I owed the person that I was dating, spending that time with, investing in and growing with, I owed them something, even if I felt like I wasn't ready to give it to them. And it's almost like the weird, like the reversal effect, because a lot of times, some of the women, they feel like they got to do these things to keep a man in their life, whether they want to or not, whether that's entertaining their shenanigans, or even in some cases, I saw some women talking about give men threesomes in relationships to keep them happy. And I just don't know if I agree with that, because it shouldn't take that for a person to really value you the way you want to be valued. That just might not be the person for you if you feel like you got to introduce someone else into the relationship for them to appreciate who you are. Unless y'all have expressed that y'all are looking for some type of open relationship or a polyamorous relationship, yeah, I think y'all really should go to the drawing board with that. I know for myself, I really feel like I want an open relationship for the freedom to be able to enjoy things that involve other women without consequence. And I don't think that that's something that is sustainable, because it'll come a point in my life where my spirit is convicted to do what God has intended for me, which is to be committed to one woman, married, and only with that woman. I just don't know if I'm mature enough to really grow towards that in this space in my life, because I still have those like tendencies and those desires, and I gotta get right with myself before I introduce a woman in my life as a partner and then go into the marriage space. Like, it is a struggle and a journey, and I don't know when that will happen for me, because I feel like they printing out attractive women every day, and it don't make it any better that I have a charisma about myself and access. I have to identify how I'm going to be better in an exclusive monogamous relationship, because that is something that is going to prepare me to be a husband. I don't play with cheating. I'm not, when I'm in a relationship and I'm committed to that person exclusively, I don't cheat. And that's just because I've been exposed to how detrimental cheating can be in a marriage and in a relationship, to where it's just not something that I'm willing to put someone that I care about into. Being unfaithful in a marriage, or really in any relationship, can have detrimental effects on your life. Not only does it affect the person that you love, but it affects, if y'all got kids, it's going to affect your kids. It's going to affect your relatives. And I just don't play with that stuff.